Another episode, Convos with KEEGS. Yeah, it is episode 35, I believe. It's 7 in the morning. Man, what I have been trying to figure out in this company the last week or so has been fucking insane. It is like eating me away that I can't kind of go too much into detail about it. There's just so much going on with it. A lot of exciting news, I should say. Basically, everything I've worked on for the past 4 years is about to come together in a system that I created. How do I explain this without going fucking too into it? Basically, you know what? I'm just going to stop talking about it because it's just too... nothing is done yet, so I don't want to jump the gun. But anyways, what I've noticed, I should preface, the reason that I kind of came to this realization, I guess, or this newfound focus to get this system done is I'm in a position where my back is against the wall. I have to perform, have no choice, as well as the books that I keep mentioning in these talks and the habits I've created. It's single-handedly, there's no other way to spin it. I changed a few habits that changed my life, and a result of that is what I've built through the system that I was mentioning earlier. Like, it took me fucking 4 years to put these pieces together and to develop the skills needed to execute on this system that I'm talking about. But once I changed my habits and I just kind of, I really clearly defined what I needed to do in one concise little lane. It's what this one book called The One Thing. I just finished. I'm actually rereading it right now. It basically talks about, like, if you want to do something extraordinary and, like, you have aspirations to do this, and that, blah, 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 you have to dedicate everything you have to the one thing. You know, I was so scattered throughout this whole company's lifespan on, like, doing so many different things and, you know, wanting to dip my toes in the waters and every little avenue possible. But once, you know, the pressure was on and I had to perform, and, you know, I changed all my habits, blah, 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 read books, took online marketing courses, had a lot of conversations with people that I look up to, and I value their opinion because I know that they have been through some sort of adversity and they have overcome it and turned it into a success story. So, like, I had a lot of tough conversations recently with different people. Those helped a shit ton. It really it kind of, like, put me in my place almost. Not even put me in my place. It more like it just directed me to exactly what I needed to do, which is weird because, like I said earlier, I was trying to do so much in this company, but now that I'm really focused on this one thing, it's using everything that I wanted to do separately, if that makes sense. I'll give you a little teaser of it. It includes tattoo artists. It includes my clothing. It includes a blog, a podcast, and what else? I think that's it. But either way, like, I was trying to do the tattoo artist collab separate from Lonely. And the scholarships. That's another thing. That's the biggest fucking thing. That is okay. I'm gonna completely go off on a tangent here. So the reason I started Lonely Cowboy Company was for these scholarships, and it was to give back to the community. That was the whole point. I wanted to make this a nonprofit to start, but the cost to start a nonprofit was a few grand, and the cost to start an LLC was a few $100s. So I was like, all right, well, I can't afford a nonprofit, but that was the goal. The goal has always been to give back to the community in some way. And the way I chose specifically was scholarships for high school seniors interested in mental health education. So to go back a little bit into what I was talking about, the scholarships, the blog, the podcast, tattoo artists, collaborations, clothing. I was trying to do all of those things separately previous, and now I'm putting them all together in a very clear, concise way. I created a system that is very scalable and very marketable and very, I don't know if this is the right word, replicable. I don't know. That doesn't sound right. But anyways, it's all so clear in the way that I've mapped it out on file, and kind of just, like I keep saying, the system I made. I could give it to a fucking monkey and they could run this company at this point. Like, I've dumbed it down so much to where all I have to do is just execute on it and not think about it, not just do it. And that's honestly the hardest part, is just doing it. But it gets easier. I mean, I've been through a shit ton of growing pains trying to figure out what was right and what would work, and, you know, learning from my mistakes. Unfortunately, in this business, like, mistakes cost a lot of fucking money. On the flip side of that, the reward is very great if you figure it out. And I think that's the beauty of starting your own business is, you know, there's a lot of risk involved. There's a lot of pressure. And I think I realized this. I don't think this life is for everyone. And that's something that I really had to come to terms with recently. And like, because I've felt, you know, pretty alone in a lot of this journey with this company, because it is very stressful, and I don't think this stress is for everyone. I know that, like, to a lot of people, it's probably not worth it, and I totally get it. Like, there's a lot of days where I wish I didn't have the stress. Obviously, it's taken every fucking ounce of energy to kind of just push my limits to the absolute max. Really, I've had to dig deep recently to find motivation and to continue executing even when I didn't want to, even when I felt like, you know, like any little sliver of doubt that came into my mind, I've practiced and trained my brain so much that like that shit just even in the slightest bit, if I have any doubt, it's gone within right when I acknowledge it, because there's simply no time for fucking around and doubting yourself, and kind of staying off course. There's at least in my situation, I'm sure that, you know, if I were to go back, there's definitely some things I would do differently, but I wouldn't know that unless I did it. I will say I did take some weird risks. Not to say that they were like extraordinary, but I don't really worry about things that most people would worry about, and vice versa. Like things that a lot of people don't worry about, I worry about. And I think that's a lot of where my anxiety comes from, is because like I can't really relate to people that don't understand what I'm going through. Like when I walk into a room anywhere, I have to scan the whole room, make sure I know exactly what's happening, who's there, exits. Like I need 100% certainty in every situation that if I need to get out, I can. And that's for a lot of different reasons that I won't get into too much, but you know, that's something I have to think about every day. And part of the reason why I don't like going out too much, and honestly just don't like being in public that much, and it's definitely unhealthy. Something I'm trying to work on, but yeah, that's just an example of something that like I would say I'm sure some people feel the same way, but I would say a lot of people don't have to do that. You know, a lot of people can go to dinner and it's just a normal thing. Like you go out to dinner, eat, have a good time, leave. But to me, it's like, okay, I need to know where I'm going to dinner, what time. I have to think about everything outside of that. Like I need to think about where certain people are probably going to be during that time. I need to, when I get there, look for the cars, scan the room, make sure that I'm okay, and make sure my people are okay. I don't like having my back to people. There's just a lot, man, and that's just one example of something that I have to constantly battle, and it fucking sucks, but it is what it is. But back to like what I was saying about, so that's something that, you know, I find a lot of anxiety and stress in. And regarding this business, there's definitely risks I've taken that would scare the shit out of a lot of people. And they scare the shit out of me, don't get me wrong, but I've always been comfortable under pressure and felt the most at peace under pressure in like high stress situations. And it sounds crazy if I were to explain everything to Joe Schmo on the street, like exactly to a T what is going on. Obviously, I can't do that here just for personal reasons, and you know, I just don't need to be spreading everything, right? But to me, I've never really strayed away from like risk and playing it safe, because it always left a bad taste in my mouth if I knew I wasn't living up to my potential. And honestly, I think that's another kind of unhealthy thing that I've been trying to deal with, is I set ridiculously high expectations for myself, and I truly don't think that I can be satisfied unless I reach those expectations. and I'm willing to do whatever it takes. And I know a lot of people say that, but I really don't think people understand how much that takes and how much the sacrifice is. Like, it fucking kills me the amount of sacrifice I've had to take to do what I'm doing right now. And that's simply like, the results will come, but people don't think about the back end to it. Like, I essentially had to, me and my girlfriend had to split up because the distance was just a little too much for us. And, I can't help but think, like, if I wasn't so involved in this company, if I wasn't so stressed out all the time, if I had more time to kind of focus on that and be a normal human civilian and just kind of do what you're supposed to do in life. And maybe I think everyone's life is obviously different, and everyone has a different puzzle in their own life, but that's just one example. Like, I've consciously had to sacrifice that, and I've had to sacrifice time away from my mom and time away from my friends. Like, I don't go out. I haven't done something quote unquote fun in fucking God knows how long. It's just a lot that, like, I'm realizing now that I'm coming to the point of almost being able to take a step back. I'm not there yet by any means. I have a lot of work to do and a lot to execute on. A lot has to go right. But I'm slowly getting to a point where I can be very efficient with my time, make sure I'm getting my shit done in a clear, concise, consistent way, so then I can have more time for, a relationship in the future, or I can have fun and go out with my friends sometimes, and I can be around more. And I know that I'm not the only one dealing with that. I've listened to many people that I look up to talk about it. A lot of comedians talk about it because they're on the road so much. Just the amount of work and the amount of dedication it takes to be perfect at your craft. And for them, it's comedy. For me, it's this business. And I guess for me to be perfect, it's like, not necessarily be perfect, I should say, but I need the drive for me comes from these scholarships and taking care of my family and my friends. Like, I've said this so many times to so many people, and I think this is really what frustrates me. I've never met someone who I can relate to on this specific thing. And that's not to say that I'm doing something that is like crazy out of the ordinary, because shit happens all the time. There's so many nonprofits. There's so many people giving back. But for me personally, in my situation, I should care about money way more than I do, I guess, on paper. But, like, it's just not something that has ever really motivated me. And I think that's where I was going wrong in the early stages of this company. I was so focused on making money and focused on, like, here's product, sell product, blah, 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 just the cookie cutter shit. And to be honest, I was listening to a lot of people were in my ear on how I should go about things. And, I kind of like took their advice almost without taking a step back and realizing, like, okay, I started this so I could help and give back. And that's really where everything's shifted after I read those books, after I, had those conversations with some people and really reflected on what I was doing and why I was doing it. I started this company to give back to the community and to provide these scholarships for kids and to do collabs and bring people together. Like, that has always been the goal. And I lost sight of that. And that goal has always remained the same. And that has always been the reason why we would be able to make money and we would be able to fund these scholarships, because the root of what I was trying to do was in the right place. It's very genuine. It's like, there's no bullshit about it. It's very real. It's real impact, real change, real scholarships. This is all for that and to take care of my family and friends. But back to that point, I have yet to be able to relate to someone in that way, where it's like, I've never met someone who sees money in the same way that I do. Like, to me, it doesn't, I get you gotta fucking save and retirement, blah, blah, this, that, fucking credit score, all that dumb shit. None of it matters, man. None of it fucking matters. If you die tomorrow, that shit does not matter. That's the reality of it. I'm not working for that. I'm working because if I die tomorrow, I want to make sure that I put every ounce of energy I had into making actual change and furthering mental health education and just pushing that conversation forward. Another thing I was thinking about recently is this kind of pisses me off. Like, people always talk about, oh, we need this change, this, that, blah, 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 blah. Like, this is bad. We got to stop that. And no one wants to put in that fucking work to do it. It is, like, baffling to me. The amount of shit people say about, like, we need this reform and this, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay, then, we could do this. And they're like, oh, no. Yeah, no. I'm not going to do that. Not my money. No. God forbid. My money? No. I'm like, holy fuck, dude. How blind are these people? Like, I don't even know if that made sense, but I'm trying to explain it without getting angry about it and trying to stay cool, calm, collected. But, like, I've realized that people are hypocrites and everyone wants to talk, but no one wants to take action. And I get it, because there is stress in that, and there is judgment that comes from it. There is risk, obvious. Like, there's a lot of downsides to taking action, no matter what it is. But it's more like, for me, I can't live with myself if I say something and I don't do it. Someone close to me recently gave me the single best compliment I have ever received in my life, and I don't think anyone could give me a better compliment. And I truly believe that. I haven't talked to this person in a while, and somehow we got connected back for like, just to have a conversation, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And they said, like, Kellen, like, I just want to say, I really, I admire what you're doing, blah, 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 blah. And they said, you've done everything you said you would. And that single sentence put everything into perspective about, like, why I do what I do and why the risk doesn't matter to me, because, like, I can't live with myself if I don't think I'm performing at the highest possible level I can. And if I'm not getting every ounce of energy I have out of me to push for my goals and dreams, and like I know I'm capable of them, and if I don't do them, I don't like myself. And that's something that I obviously need to work on. It's unhealthy. I don't recommend putting that much weight on things, but like to hear that, like to hear someone acknowledge and kind of take, like, just to know that when people, just to know that the people close to me understand, or are acknowledging that, like, when I say something, I'm going to do it, and I'm not all talk. You know, I take pride in like backing up what I say and doing what I do, and, you know, executing when I have to, and not backing down from pressure. And that's not to sound cocky, but like I take pride in that. That's pretty much, if I didn't, I would hate myself. It's harsh and obviously something I need to work on, but I have a hard time relating to people that talk. They talk. They talk this. I want to do this, blah, 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 blah. And they never fucking do anything about it. And they never... It's frustrating because they don't understand the amount of sacrifice it takes. And they think it's all sunshine and rainbows and blah, 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 blah. They don't understand the amount of hours and the pain and the struggle and the constant stress of like not being good enough and not providing for so-and-so people, not being there when you should. Like it is not fucking easy. And I don't know if this whole podcast sounded like a little bitch rant, but man, I'm not gonna lie, it's been pretty lonely. I haven't talked to many people about this, and I think this is the first time I'm kind of reflecting on it all, saying it out loud, and realizing like the weight that I've put on myself in this company. Now that I'm thinking about it, man, I wouldn't wish this weight on my worst enemy. And with that being said, though, I wouldn't want it any other way. I love what I do. I love pushing myself. I love the adversity and overcoming it, and, you know, having those conversations with people down the line that said, like, you did everything you said you would. That you can't take that away from me. And there's a lot of comfort in knowing that I am who I say I am, and I do what I say I'll do. But the side that no one sees is the tears and, you know, the struggle, the loneliness. That part fucking sucks. So I hope it's all worth it, and I know it will be. Right now, I'm just in a fucking dogfight and fighting for my life, fighting for the company's life. I treat it like I'm fighting for these kids' lives that I'm trying to offer scholarships for, because we need this shit in schools now. I think it'll create a lot of noise. It'll make a lot of all right. Well, I just cut off that conversation, but I'm reading my camera saying that my movie recording has been stopped automatically. The maximum recording time has been reached. So with that being said, let's get these fucking scholarships in school and let's start making change. Thank you for listening, watching this episode of Convos with KEEGS. I think it's episode 35. I fucking love you guys. Anyone who listens to the podcast, supports Lonely Cowboy, watches videos, whatever, you have no idea how much it means to me. You guys are family to me. I truly, truly, truly believe that when I say it, and I love you all so much. You have no idea the amount of appreciation and gratitude I have for you to take time out of your day to support. Yeah, it means the fucking world. It really does. So on that note, have a great rest of your day, and I will talk to you guys later. Peace.